Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you a doll, a paper art doll that I made in a swap group that I belong to. We make paper art dolls and exchange them back and forth, and I join in probably 4 times or 5 times a year. I've been doing this for a couple years. I have several paper art doll videos, and I will link some of them in the end card and in the little information cards where you can click at the right corner and get another video because I have quite a few. So this time the theme that was set was to make a doll out of an ATC, an artist trading card, which is a 2.5 by 3.5 rectangle card. And the idea was to use that for the body and then to make all the limbs be able to fold in with your little brads, and then it can all fit in the size of an ATC. Mine ended up maybe when I folded everything in, some of the pieces were still sticking out a little bit, but hey, it's cute. So I like to make my art dolls be good from the front and the back. This is something that I prefer. A lot of the dolls that I receive in swaps, when you turn them to the back, they're just plain, and I like mine to be a little bit different. So I started out by making 2 artist trading cards. I got scraps from around that were in colors of pinks and oranges. Oh, I forgot to tell you that the person that I was swapping with, there wasn't any theme other than to make it an ATC doll. And so she messaged me and she said, "Would you like to do a theme?" And I said, how about tattooed unicorn gypsy? And she said, "Okay." I wasn't sure if she would say okay to that. Uh, it just was random. I mean, I'm not sure why I picked that, but I just wanted something fun and different and not holiday. So that was the theme, was tattooed unicorn gypsy or tattooed gypsy unicorn, however you want to think of it, but somehow a gypsy unicorn that has tattoos. That was, yeah, that was where I was going with that. So I wanted to do fun colors and patterns like I imagine a gypsy would like. Fabrics that would be, flowing and fun and beautiful colors and lots of pattern and maybe even a little bit of bling. Of course, that's a stereotype. I don't really know what a gypsy person would actually like, but that's just something that I think of when I think of the idea of a gypsy. A nomadic person who is mysterious and interesting and travels around the world. And I don't know, that's just what I think of. So if you're actually a gypsy and you don't like this stuff, I'm sorry. This is just what the world stereotypes are. So I made 2 ATCs with different scraps of printed and stenciled papers and in colors of orange and pink and magenta and deep yellow. And then I started to make the limbs for the doll. I had a scrap piece left over. If you watch some of the other ATC, or not ATC dolls, but regular paper dolls that I've made, I like to take watercolor paper and I collage it on both sides with papers like old text paper that has that kind of skin tone to it, other printed papers, um, papers from newspapers that have interesting writing on them, like maybe Asian writing, stuff like that. Napkins if they're the right color, and then and even tea bags. Tea bags are really great. Used tea bags is, if you take the tea part out of it and they're dry, they have a beautiful, what I think of as a skin tone color to them. So this piece is left over from the last time I made a doll. I think all it has is tea bags on it, and they've been collaged on both sides. And then I put a wash of probably portrait pink over it just to warm up the color a little bit. And this is what I had. So I decided, rather than just going and making a whole new one, that I would use this one to make the limbs. So I put the card down figured out where I wanted the legs to be, and then I drew them and cut them out. I ended up making the legs again, but I didn't leave it in the video. It's exactly the same process. I just thought they were too short after I put the arms and the head on. The legs seemed very stubby, and I thought, well, they needed to be made again. So I made them again exactly the same way as I did this time, only they're just a little bit longer. So then, of course, an ATC is a rectangle, and it's not really, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure I love this concept. It's cool, but it doesn't look curvy. It's just square, and I needed an extension of the body like a skirt or something to make it look more like what I think of a person or a doll to look like. So I decided to just extend the color onto the legs by giving it some kind of bloomers. I don't know what else to call them. Uh, just something that sticks out underneath and is the same color as the main portion of the ATC. So I drew a line across the legs. I collaged some more of the same color paper on both sides because remember, I like to have my backside look good too. Um, Not as good as the front, but good, not just plain. And then I had like a little white ruffle at the bottom. Sometimes if you had some of those bloomer pants, which nobody wears anymore, I mean, those are an old-fashioned thing, but I might have had some as a child. I'm not sure. I know I had underwear that had little lace sewn across the bottom. So something like that. But it wasn't long, though. It didn't go down to my knees or whatever. So I may have never actually had. Oh, I know where I got the concept. I was in a dance group, and one time we had to dress up as Holly Hobby. And my mom sewed me a Holly Hobby dress, which was like a long dress with a pinafore over the top. And I had to wear bloomers under that because that was what you would wear with that type of an old fashioned dress. So I guess it's kind of like something like that. Anyway, I cut some lace and I glued the lace along the bottom edge of the bloomers. And I think that the concept would be that you wouldn't let your bloomers show, but in this case, they're going to show. That's just all there is to it. And I took some of the same lace. It was very wide lace, and I kind of cut the different lines across, separated them. Then this was the leftover piece, and I put it along the bottom of the ATC. And then now I feel like it's wearing, I guess, a dress. Even though its feet are showing, it's wearing a dress. It has bare feet. Um, I thought about putting boots on because I kind of just thought it looked like it should have like those half calf lace up boots, but I just didn't. I didn't end up doing it. I decided to leave them with bare feet. So then, of course, I need to punch holes and add mini brads. These are teeny tiny little paper fasteners, and they're gold in this case. I have other colors, but I decided to use the gold ones. I had a concept that I might make the doll have some like beaded necklaces or something, but I ended up not doing it. I ended up doing something else. So I was thinking about gold and using gold beads to make some type of a little dangly something, and that's the reason that I picked the gold brads. So then of course I also need arms using the same scrap of paper that's been collaged on both sides, drawing the arms, cutting them out, and I left the arms bare. I didn't put like a little cap sleeve or anything on them. I decided that it would look better if they were just bare. I didn't think I needed something else on them. I'm going to put tattoos on them. So as you can see, the body seems the legs seem too short now. And I did end up making longer legs. But I cut it out of the video. It's exactly the same process as before. Didn't think it needed to be in there again. So there's the body. Now I need a head. And this, I'm looking at it. I'm trying to decide, do the legs look weird? Yeah, they do. I'm going to make new legs. So then I decided to move on to the head. drawing an oval shape face, trying to make it proportionate. And then the neck needs to come down and be have something to attach to the top with a brad. And I was thinking about, do I put the neck in the front? Do I put the neck in the back? These are all the things that you have to think about when you're making an art doll. How does it look more natural? Do you attach the legs to the front or to the back? Do you attach the arms to the front or the back? Like you notice, I attached the arms to the front because I think that that takes out some of that square, the or rectangled squared area at the top, makes it look more natural. So in this case, I think I wanted to put the neck in the front. I can't remember if I did it or not. I ended up putting it on the back, I guess, but originally I thought the neck should attach to the front and it would have kind of like a scoop neckline that way. But then I ended up changing my mind at some point. I don't know. This is a process, and this is a long process, much longer than this video. The video is only around 20 minutes, but the process probably took 3 or 4 hours from start to finish. So it's not a short thing. So I've drawn a head, and I've made it have a unicorn horn. So it's a girl that has a unicorn horn. It's not exactly a horse looking shape. At the end of the video, you'll see a picture of the one that I received in exchange from Jean D. And it is a fully articulated unicorn. It has a head that moves up and down that looks like a horse head with a unicorn horn with little flowers. It's got 4 legs, 2 attached in the front, 2 attached in the back. It's got a tail that moves. And then in the background, it has a gypsy wagon. And it came inside a little gypsy wagon fold over that it fits inside of. So really cute and very different from what I made. Which is why you swap. I mean, you end up with stuff that's not the same as the thing that you made. So it also has a very blingy saddle. The unicorn does. So pretty clever, and it's printed on both sides. So looks pretty cool. So I'm continuing to work on my face at this point. I started with a type of a pencil that's called a Jumbo Jet pencil from Jerry's Artorama. They're the only ones who make it. It's a impregnated charcoal pencil, but the color is called sanguine, which is kind of a reddish brown. I think that word means blood. Kind of a blood red color, I guess. Dried blood, maybe. And I added some shading around the face and the neck and everything to start out with, blending it with a water brush. And then I decided I was going to go ahead and make it look illustrated. So I'm using my Pentel Pocket Brush, which is a brush that has black India ink, and it has a very flexible artificial bristle brush that's part of it. I love this pen. I just love it. And because it's India ink, it dries and is permanent once it's dry, because India ink is permanent when it's dry. You can blend it a little bit before it gets dry, but then once it's dry, it's permanent. So I did my illustration lines around my face and head, and then I decided to disassemble the doll and start to work on the coloring and the tattoos and all the other stuff that needs to be done with it disassembled. So I took all the parts apart. I had originally made 2 ATCs, and I was going to put one on the front and one on the back. And I changed my mind and decided to just go ahead and collage the back instead of trying to put this other one, attach it with the brads in between. It just didn't seem like it was going to work as well. So I went ahead and collaged with the same paper the entire back of the ATC as well. And then I'm just going to attach the limbs that way. So that's why I had originally made 2 ATCs at the beginning, was because I was going to put one on the front and one on the back. I don't know if I said that, but I changed my mind. I'm always changing my mind. So I added the same papers with the oranges and pinks and magentas and yellows and colors like that. to make an interesting ATC back as well. And the lace is trapped in between the two layers, so it just still looks like it's lacy at the bottom on both sides. Then I decided I needed some sort of, I remember I said I was going to make a beaded necklace. I changed my mind and decided to stencil with this Stencil Girl stencil instead. It has these, what are they, scallops? I guess you'd call them scallops. And I thought that they made an interesting effect on the dress by having this kind of almost like maybe an embroidered area down the front of the dress. I see things that kind of remind me of that um, on the dresses that I see, the traditional dresses that I see when I go and watch traditional Mexican dancing. The dresses are white, not bright colors like this, but they have embroidery. They have a lot of really pretty bright colored embroidery around the arms, around the neck, around the bottom of the dress. And I was kind of going for that sort of a look. And so I stenciled it on with some Naples yellow, which is kind of a deep yellow color. And then I did shading all around with my my Pentel pocket brush, and I blended it. You see, as on that sealed surface, I have a few seconds in which I can blend. So I added shading, and then I eventually added color as well. But I decided to move on to my head and let my body dry for a while. I also put that stenciling on the back as well, because it would be all the way around the neck. It would be a scoop neck, but it's an ATC. You got to work with what you've got. So then I started to color, and I'm just using water soluble products. I'm using my Stabilo Woodies because they're on the desk. They still haven't got put away. They're still there. So that's what I'm using to do the face, as well as that pocket brush. And I think I use a white Posca pen, which is an acrylic paint pen that you can also blend for a few seconds before it dries. But then once it dries, it's permanent. So I've got red, I've got pink, I made her have brown eyes. I was watching this show last night. It's some type of a documentary, and they had taken, it was in Britain. They'd taken an ancient skeleton that they called Cheddar Man, and it was found in a a cave, and they did DNA profile on it. And then they had some artists who first they figured out all the markers in the profile, and then they figured out that the skeleton, the person who was the skeleton, would have had blue eyes and very dark, almost black skin. And it was challenging the idea that all our that we think about people from from Britain being mostly pale skinned, people from Africa being mostly dark skinned, people from Scandinavia being blonde and light haired, blue eyes. It challenged what our stereotypes are about what skin tone and eye color people should be. First of all, a person who has very dark skin and blue eyes, like bright blue eyes, is unusual. And here's this skeleton that's, 2,000 years old, found in Britain that was exactly that: ice blue, bright eyes with dark, dark skin and dark hair. So, of course, stereotypically, I made this gypsy unicorn have brown eyes and dusky skin, right? Because that's what I think of when I think of a gypsy, someone who has brown eyes, usually dark hair, but in this case, it's a unicorn, so I made it have rainbow hair. But normally, it would be dark hair, dark eyes, dusky skin, not real dark, but I don't know that as I'm watching this documentary, I'm thinking about it, saying, well, maybe gypsies don't all have dark eyes and dark skin. They probably don't. I don't know. I don't know any gypsies. I've seen them on TV. So anyway, rainbow hair, because unicorns have rainbow, um, you know, manes. So I had to go there. So then the next step was just to draw tattoos, because it's supposed to be a tattooed unicorn gypsy, or a tattooed gypsy unicorn, or something like that, whatever I said. And so I'm using my pocket brush pen again. I can make very fine lines. I can make thick lines because it's a flexible tipped brush. It's just really a lovely pen. And I draw with that. It's permanent. I guess actually I didn't use the pocket brush pen. I used the brown one, I guess, the sepia toned Pentel brush pen, which is a little bit different. But I guess maybe I didn't want it black. I see it in the picture here, and I don't remember now because this was a while ago, and I didn't edit down the video when I still had a memory. Anyway, I drew a lot of tattoos, vines, hearts, butterflies, an anchor, all a diamond shape, like a gem diamond shape, flowers, all that type of stuff, whatever I could think of that I thought would make a nice tattoo. And made all the arms and legs have tattoos, and a little bit of a viney looking tattoo on her face. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and maybe you will make something like this. If you do, come over to our art sharing group, Art Joy of Sharing, on Facebook, and share it. I would like to see it. Also, you can probably find the Paper Doll group, Paper Doll Club. I think it's Paper Doll Club Facebook group. If you think you'd like to exchange art dolls, you can ask to join. I don't run the group, so I don't know what their policies are as far as people joining, but I'm sure the more the merrier if you ask to join. Also, if you enjoyed this, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on those notification bells. And of course, you can share this on Facebook or pin it on Pinterest. I'll be sharing it on Facebook. You might have even seen it on Facebook or Instagram, because that's what I usually do. So I did add a little bit of color to my tattoos. I'm not sure. Different people have different opinions about tattoos, whether they should be black and gray or whether they should be brightly colored. There's a lot of options out there with tattoos, but I only have one, and it's a dolphin, and it's a color tattoo. So I admire all styles, which there's more than just black and gray and color. There's also all kinds of art styles in tattoos. It's a very deep and long-standing tradition that has a lot of history to it. It's interesting to me. I added a little bit of glitter to the horn and some sparkle to her eyes. Added a little bit more highlight with the white fine tip Posca pen. And then I put her back together, and there you go. So here is the one that I received in my swap that I was talking about, and then there's some more pictures of mine. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.